to LAEF TV. I'm Carrie Logue, Executive Director of LAEF. Welcome to episode 7. We have a fantastic episode with Derrik Bankemper, who's bringing us amazing information about meditation along with a really great story. So get ready to relax, to just find some peace within yourself and have a great lesson with LAEF. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and remember our hashtag LAEFtv.
Hi everyone, my name is Derrik Bankemper. I work at LAEF After School Program at Rossmore and Weaver for Mindfulness and Meditation. Today we're just going to go over some brief ways to practice and cultivate this art in your own home in these trying times. So one way we can practice is just by having a formal sitting practice. If you'll notice, I'm sitting on a professional meditation cushion called the Zafu. Not everyone has one of those, so you can use a towel, pillow, or a rolled up blanket, or anything else you may have around that can facilitate you being comfortable. I always tell the kids the first rule of my class is get comfortable. If you aren't, you won't be able to sustain a sitting practice. One reason we practice a formal sitting practice is to eliminate our distractions. We have a lot of distractions, especially now if you're a parent working from home and you have kids around. So one of these ways that you can eliminate distractions, turning the TVs and all screens off, turning the phones on silent or vibrate unless you are in a critical life-saving industry, and also just trying to eliminate other distractions, animals, dogs, cats, and just trying to put everything away. Trying to really put time, energy, effort, focus, and attention into this one thing. I have a bell with me. We're going to use the bell for a couple different reasons, a couple different activities, but you can substitute a timer, anything else that kind of makes that noise. That's it. I mean, it's just a really basic, simple practice that you can take in your own home and work into your own everyday lives. Exploring this art is a great way of cultivating a discipline. So basically we have a few ways to sit. I'm in a basic half lotus posture. Some people aren't flexible in the hips. That's totally fine. You can sit in what is called classic Indian style crisscross applesauce. Some people don't like this because of the pinch that occurs right here in their legs. There's a way called the Burmese style of sitting where you kind of pinch your toes and then just drop the calf right there next to the heel. That way there's no pinch. If you want to go advanced style, we have things that are called the Japanese session style, where you kind of take your blanket and put it down here and just cultivate a very, very tall, confident, upright posture. Okay? In all of these postures, you want to focus on a tripod, 2 knees and then a spine. You want them both solid, connected, rooted to the ground, and very stable to sustain your practice. Last way, kind of advanced way, if you want to kind of fool around with this, is full lotus. I take one leg on top and I put the other leg nice and tight on top of that. Again, that means I'm locked in, I'm really committed, and I have kind of open hips too from stretching. That'll help. But anyway, pick your poison. Whatever way you want to sit and maintain is good for you. First thing we're going to use is that sound. That sound is just going to be our focus point. We're just going to practice sitting, breathing, and calmly listening. That's all. Nothing else. Easiest thing in the world. Let's see how long we can do it for. So we're going to listen to the sound of the bell. All the way from the beginning, sustained through, and all the way till you can't hear it anymore. We're just going to do that 3 times together. All right, guys, outstanding. Some people might notice, and the kids around them or themselves, kind of hard to do that. We're so used to going out, especially now that we're all home, playing games, running outside, doing what we want all the time. This is kind of training against that. We kind of want to take all that energy we put out through our body, out through our senses and everything, and really, really focus on turning it inside. Okay? So what we're going to do right now is just take 2 minutes. 2 minutes just to sit quietly, sit calmly, focus on our breath. I'll be giving you some gentle reminders throughout that. And if you can't do it, this is the time to ask yourself, why not? What's so hard about this? What's going on inside that drags me away from my point of attention? What are all these distractions? So let's just take 2 minutes. We're going to have 3 bells in the beginning, and we're going to have 3 bells at the end. Try and sit upright. Think about that tripod, and have a good sense of balance throughout this whole time. One of the first things we can turn our attention to is how we're sitting. We can feel the weight of our body on our cushion or the ground. You can feel our clothes. If it's long enough, the hair on our neck, shoulders, or back. We can pay attention to the sounds around us, just listening to them like you would a piece of music. Even just letting my voice float in and float out of your mind. You can notice our posture, how you're sitting, how you're holding yourself upright, strong. Throughout this whole time, if you get a surge of energy that tells you to wiggle or move around, just observe that. Why wiggle? Why move? Can I be still for this time? Let's take the last 30 seconds to try that by yourself. The game is to stay still, focus on that big breath, hand on your stomach to help you feel that breath. Win the game. Has your posture slipped? Has your focus wavered? Bring it back with these last 3 bells. Every bell, a breath. Some people might find this practice a bit daunting in the beginning. It's kind of a hard thing, but repetition is the mother of skill. We're trying to see what goes on inside when we're really paying attention. What are our thoughts? What's going on in our head? How do we feel in our heart? What's going on in our body? A lot of times like this, when things are different, it's really, really important to look inside. We may notice a lot of stuff going on the outside, but what's going on the inside? You are always with you. So to illustrate these points and kind of what we can do to better understand, I have a story today for you guys called The 3 Questions. It's based on a story by Tolstoy. If you don't know who he is, look him up. Pretty cool cat. And it's written and illustrated by a guy named John J. Muth. Okay? So settle in. Again, first rule, get comfortable. There once was a boy named Nikolai who sometimes felt uncertain about the right way to act. I want to be a good person, he told his friends, but I don't always know the best way to do that. Nikolai's friends understood and they wanted to help him. If only I could find the answers to my 3 questions, Nikolai continued, then I would always know what to do. When is the best time to do things? Who is the most important one? What is the right thing to do? Nikolai's friends considered his first question. Then Sonia, the heron, a big bird, spoke. To know the best time to do things, one must plan in advance, she said. Gogol, the monkey, who had been rooting through some leaves to find something good to eat, said, you will know when to do things if you watch and pay close attention. Then Pushkin, the dog, who was just dozing off, rolled over and said, you can't pay attention to everything yourself. You need a pack to keep watch and help you decide when to do things. For example, Gogol, a coconut is about to fall on your head. Nikolai thought for a moment. Then he asked his second question. Who is the most important one? Those who are closest to heaven, said Sonia, circling up into the sky. Those who know how to heal the sick, said Gogol, stroking his bruised noggin. Those who make the rules, growled Pushkin. Nikolai thought some more. Then he asked the third question. What is the right thing to do? Flying, said Sonia. Having fun all the time, laughed Gogol. Fighting, barked Pushkin right away. Then the boy thought for a long while. He loved his friends. He knew they were all trying their best to help him answer his questions. But their answers didn't seem quite right. Then an idea came to him. I know, he thought. I will ask Leo the turtle. He has lived a very long time. Surely he will know the answers I am looking for. Nikolai hiked high up into the mountains where the old turtle lived all alone. When Nikolai arrived, he found Leo digging a garden. The turtle was old and digging was hard for him. I have 3 questions and I came to ask your help, Nikolai said. When is the best time to do things? Who is the most important one? What is the right thing to do? Leo listened carefully, but he only smiled. Then he went on with his digging. You must be tired, Nikolai said at last. Let me help you. The turtle gave him his shovel and thanked him. And because it was easier for a young boy to dig than it was for an old turtle, Nikolai kept on digging until the rows were finished. But just as he finished, the wind blew wildly and rain burst from darkened clouds. As they moved towards the cottage for shelter, Nikolai suddenly heard a cry for help. Running down the path, he found a panda whose leg had been badly injured by a fallen tree. Carefully, Nikolai carried her into Leo's house and made a splint for her leg. with a stick of bamboo. The storm raged on, banging at the doors and windows. The panda woke up. "Where am I?" she said. "And where is my child?" The boy ran out of the cottage and down the path. The roar of the storm was deafening. Pushing against the howling wind and drenching rain, he ran further into the forest. There, he found the panda's child, cold and shivering on the ground. The little panda was wet and scared, but alive. Nikolai carried her inside and made her warm and dry. Then he laid her in her mother's arms. Leo smiled when he saw what the boy had done. The next morning the sun was warm, birds sang, and all was well with the world. The panda's leg was healing nicely, and she thanked Nikolai for saving her and her baby from the storm. At that moment, Sonia, Gogol, and Pushkin arrived to make sure everyone was all right. Nikolai felt great peace within himself. He had wonderful friends, and he had saved the panda and her child. But he also felt disappointed. He still had not found the answers to his 3 questions. So he asked Leo one more time. The old turtle looked at the boy. "But your questions have been answered," he said. "They have?" asked Nikolai. "Yesterday, if you had not stayed to help me dig my garden, you wouldn't have heard the panda's cries for help in the storm. Therefore, the most important time was the time you spent digging the garden. The most important one at that moment was me, and the most important thing to do was to help me with my garden. Later, when you found the injured panda, the most important time was the time you spent mending her leg and saving her child. The most important ones were the panda and her baby. And the most important thing to do was to take care of them and make them safe. Remember then that there is only one important time, and that time is now. The most important one is always the one you're with. And the most important thing to do is to do good for the one who is standing or sitting at your side. For these, my dear boy, are the answers to what is most important in this world. This is why we are here." We all have storms in our lives, some bigger than others. And these questions pertain to how we are and how we act, especially as we're finding out in close quarters. The only time really is now, and we take that time to do good for those next to us, and that right thing is helping each other. We're going to end with another sit for about 2 minutes. Nothing too crazy, just a beginning level of sitting time. During this time, now that you're calm and focused, think about the best way to help those around you. 3 bells in the beginning, 3 bells at the end. Now that we're comfortable, now that we know our breath is there, our focus might turn towards other things, like our thoughts. The mind produces thoughts like the mouth produces spit. It's just his job. But we're not our thoughts. It's easy, especially in times like this, to get overwhelmed and carried away by our thoughts. And once we see our thoughts, how they work on our feelings. But this practice is to just observe them. See them for what they are. Nod and say hello. And to let them pass away. On to the next ones. So with this last minute, see if you can look at your thoughts and really feel your emotions. Take 1 minute and touch base. If you get lost, return to the anchor that is your breath. Listen to all 3 bells. That's our lesson for today. Now that you know, practice on your own. It's a family activity. You guys are in close quarters. Practice together. Discuss what's going on in the body and mind. Stay sharp, stay safe. Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Well, that was an awesome episode. I hope you really enjoyed learning about meditation from Derrik. And as you can see, this episode was a little different. I'm not in the same room with the teacher. We don't have kids engaged in the same way, but we hope that you enjoy this lesson of LAEFtv all the same. So thank you for tuning in, and we are continuing our dedication to bringing enrichment episodes to you every weekday of the school closures. So thanks again for watching, and have a great day.